Hello, my name is Faith, and today I will be discussing the myth of Pandora in Hesiod's poem Works and Days. Hesiod was a Greek poet and author of the poem Works and Days, in which he described the creation of the first woman, Pandora. According to Hesiod, Zeus decided to create Pandora in order to punish men after receiving fire from Prometheus. Despite their roles, Zeus and the other gods were not blamed for the downfall of mankind. Instead, Pandora is the one who receives the blame. Through his myth of Pandora, Hesiod perpetuated the misogynistic ideals that controlled how women were viewed in classical society. Even though he did not create these ideals, it is important to recognize that he had a large role in advancing them. The myth, with its accusatory description of Pandora, sets the tone of how women were described, viewed, and treated not just in myth, but in ancient Greek society as well. By examining these myths, we can challenge the ways in which women are viewed in classical as well as modern society. We're now going to have a quick overview of the myth and look at the gods who were involved in Pandora's creation. First up, we have Zeus. He was the mastermind behind the creation of Pandora. He commanded a few of the other gods to give her gifts. Hephaestus was commanded to sculpt Pandora, and he gave her the voice and strength of a human. Athena taught her talents like weaving on an intricate loom. Aphrodite gave her grace and cruel passion, while Hermes gave Pandora a thieving heart as well as lies and tricky speech. Once her creation was complete, Zeus gifted her to Prometheus' brother Epimetheus. According to Hesiod, before Pandora's creation, men lived without any evil, harsh labor, or diseases. However, after Pandora lifted the lid of the jar that released various evils into the world, she devised miserable sorrows for men and took away their perfect paradise. With this, Hesiod villainizes Pandora, and more largely, women as a whole, in order to justify their subjugation by men in ancient society. Now, when we're talking about the myth of Pandora, one of the most interesting topics that tends to be overlooked is the idea of objectification and blame. As previously mentioned, Hesiod describes Pandora as being crafted by Hephaestus, and he also states that she was a gift for Prometheus' brother Epimetheus. By describing her this way, he objectifies her. His description of Pandora makes it seem as if she is an object without any agency or the ability to make decisions of her own. Now, the problem with this is that even though he objectifies her, Hesiod blames her as well. According to him, Pandora is responsible for all the pain and sickness in the world. He believes that it is her fault. However, according to Ruby Blondell, objectification and blame cannot coexist because they counteract each other. She says that agency entails responsibility, and responsibility entails susceptibility to blame, and most importantly, punishment. So, in other words, Hesiod needs to make up his mind. If he wants to objectify Pandora, he can't blame her as well. And if he wants to blame her, he can't objectify her. Pandora's myth allows us to take a closer look at the way that women were viewed and treated in antiquity, and gives us the opportunity to challenge the misogynistic ideals that have influenced the characterizations of women. So thank you for watching my presentation, and I hope you learned something new.